Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So, pretty early this morning. Kind of want to get used to getting up so that I can get a full day's work in and not have a surprise. So, I think we're headed in the right direction for our field. There it is. Huh. Looks like we got branches or something that fell down. I don't know that I remember these being here, but maybe they were. But in any event, there's our plow. There's our trailer with seeds. So what I want to do is get the field plowed up to where I have the trees and then kind of get a feeling of what it looks like at that point. Leave that there, obviously. But yeah, this is the edge. We've got that little bit to go this way where we had the tree stump. I got that taken out. That was a bit of hard work, but at least it's gone. Alright, so we need allow create fields, lower it down, and we will get this taken care of here, and then we'll expand out. This should take this bush out, hopefully. There we go. That was about where the tree was, I think. Looks like we've got a little bit here. Let me clean that up. Alright. Yeah, it's almost a challenge starting this early. I don't know. Hopefully we won't regret this, but I think once we get going, and again, the time will move forward relatively quickly, so like once I'm lined up, it's okay. So alright, I think we're good. Because, yeah, what I can't see, that's the best I can do. I can't get the side turned up. Alright, so I kind of want to see, because the problem is, like, I can't see the... Alright, the trees are way up here, so yeah, I can go a long way. It's just... This is a big hill. I'm worried I'm gonna be fighting that, but gotta take what we can get when we're trying to carve stuff out of the wilderness. So it's kind of hard to walk around and survey the flatness of a plot. So alright, put that down, and we will extend this up. It's not that much further. There we go. So we want to take that way. We can see our big bags out there. Gotta be careful near the trees, just so that I don't create a situation where it's too difficult to... Alright, I'm going to start from down at the bottom of the hill too. I don't want to go too far. No, I may have already. Look at that. We're going to end up with a strangely shaped field, because I think basically, yeah, I'm over there. So let me do this. So I'm going to start cutting this way, and then, whoops, thought I had put it down, but must not have. Alright, so let me head this way. And then we'll be able to connect up here. And that should give us a pretty good sized field for certain. So that carves some things out there. We'll just have to now fill in the center and get that all taken care of. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. When it gets a little brighter, I'll let you see where we're at, and we'll keep going until we get this carved out. It's gotten a little brighter now that it's a couple hours later, but in the forest, obviously we've got all the trees, so there's only so much sunlight that gets here. Obviously taking a bit of time to get through this. Not a bad size field that we've ended up with here, but once again, I think if I expand it further, which eventually I think I will do, I'll use that area that's a little flatter toward the tent, because at this point there's been the tractor's been doing fine, so it's not that it's impossible, but it's definitely you can tell you're on a hill. So but hopefully here just maybe a couple more times across, and then obviously I've got a few pieces I missed that I'm gonna have to go and kind of touch up a bit. I think that goes far enough back. Let's see. That might be all of it. Oh, hold on, I think there's a little bit in front. Yep. Alright, so let me go down the edge here. It looks like we've got a few things that hit. I'm not sure if these fields will ever clear up from this green weed or whatever it is. I might need a brush mower or something to really clean it up, but that's an expense that obviously I'd rather avoid if I could. Yeah, it looks like we've got pieces here and there, so you can tell when it's far away, but much harder to tell when we're on top of them. So I've got a bit of cleanup here. So yeah, definitely, you know, I feel pretty good. We've got a good start here. The thing is, figuring out what I'm going to plant is going to be the biggest decision in the next space. So, but obviously I need to get this touched up, and then we'll move over to the cedar. So once I'm done with this, I'll see you. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and leave the plow there for now, because I'm sure I'll want to use it again in the future. Even in the daylight, it is so hard to get your bearings in the forest here. This is definitely going to be a challenge until I can do something different with it. So my hope is that I can eventually expand enough that it's pretty obvious where I'm at, but right now obviously I'm a good way away from where we've put our tent, so that creates some challenges. So this tractor definitely has some challenges getting around here. You know, it is uphill, so it's not as if it's short, but definitely a little more difficult than one would think. So at some point, just like any starting farm, we're definitely going to want to go ahead and get some more power eventually. So this will be the biggest challenge, is that it is 50 liters in the seeder. So I think, just because of the dollar amount, I think I'm going to go with soybeans. Because that is going to give us the best price. Of course, we may get a really poor yield, but usually it's pretty good. And at this point, I don't know. I'm not sure that doing any kind of baling on these hills is going to work. I'm certainly willing to try it, but let's turn everything on here and let's get planting. Wow, it is definitely struggling. I have my gas fully on. We'll see if I can even do the headland before we run out of seed. We might get lucky, we might not. Good news is, it is, as I say that, I guess I'm wrong. I was saying it's getting rid of the green, and it is somewhat, but it's certainly not doing it everywhere. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna see if first person is any better. It is a little bit. The problem is I don't know that I exactly know where to position myself here. But this is a little easier to work with, for sure, than what I was doing before. So, yeah, the good news is this isn't a giant consumer of seed. So we will certainly get around the field, and then some, before we're empty. Now the bad news is that means I probably won't use all the seed, which means my next challenge is going to be to figure out what do I do with the seed bags so that I can use the trailer. So again, it's struggling here to make progress up the hill, but when we're just starting out, it's the equipment we're able to afford and that we have available. Alright, so we've got that. The field is a little longer this way, even though obviously it's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's probably still the best way to go, because at least for half of it we'll be going downhill, and we'll be able to use that. But we'll see how this all works out, because at this point the good thing with seed is it doesn't really overplant, so I can certainly just kind of go ahead here, and if nothing else, clear out a little more of the field so that I can tell what is happening. And then, that'll make it easier to kind of see where I need to go. But I'm glad it's getting rid of the branches that have fallen as well, because that's certainly very difficult to see through. So we're going to have to take a peek at the spreading technology eventually, because we're going to want to fertilize this field too. We'll see if we have time to do all that today. Again, we got going early so that we could move along pretty well, so I think we'll be okay. But then beyond that, unless we want to use some time to make a little more money with another tree or two and kind of keep expanding, we may have daylight left before we're complete with the work. So I do apologize in the forest here. Certainly it's really hard to get a good view, so I'm not intentionally trying to get behind the trees, it's just kind of happening. So, but this obviously is going much faster than the plowing. And it's really hard to kind of tell what it's doing. Let's see, does it get... No, it won't get rid of those. That's interesting. I wonder why it finishes that way. So the edges, you know, and maybe it's because they're out in the grass a little bit, where they're actually centered, so unless I seed over that part of it, it won't go away. Hopefully this side will vanish, because we've obviously got some here at the edge too that is hanging over, but definitely not terrible in any way. Alright. Whoops. Again, not being able to see, I'm kind of all over the place. But once again, the way this all works, it'll work. So, we'll get this done, and then we will see how things are going, and what time it is, and what we'll do next. Alright, getting the last portion of the field here. Very few seeds used. I knew it would be light, but I didn't think it would be that light. So I have a ridiculous idea for how to get the seeds off the trailer. We'll see if it works, because if nothing else, I'm going to need to get some fertilizer and bring it back here too. And then we'll worry about moving things later. Didn't have that lowered. Alright, let me just make sure. I think we're good. So, we've got a field. I know it says it needs rolling, but I don't know that we have any... that there's any rollers that'll make sense, or that can be pulled by this tractor. We've got to remember, we've only got 80 horsepower, so... Alright. So I'm going to go put this away, and then we're going to come back here, and we're going to see what we can do. Way over here. Doesn't really matter which side of the tent we come from. We're kind of storing things behind the tent. So I'll probably bring the plow over here too. It's just that way we kind of know where all our implements are. Hopefully it won't go rolling. Oh, I forgot there's people walking the trails. I'm like, there's movement down there, but and I'm sure they're like, why is there noises up in the forest? But then again, there are fields spread throughout the forest here, so it wouldn't be that unique to hear tractors or other farm implements being utilized as you were walking around. So at this point, we've got, you know, a decent size, even on the mini-map. I wouldn't say it's half a field 4, but it might be a quarter a field 4, so that's certainly not bad. Just a few days in. Alright. So, I am going to do this and see. Well, they are moving. So yeah, what I'm going to do is basically get them to slide off. Now it looks like it's not working at the end here. It's just sliding. Oh boy. Alright, so at this point, I don't have much of a choice but to go to the store and get a front loader for this. I've got a few options, or an option that looks like it'll work. So I'll see you at the store. So it took me a little bit to find the workshop here. Alright, so we're going to customize. We've got a stole or a quick. I think stole is what we have. So we'll do that. It's going to cost us $800. So that's not too bad. And then we've got a stole front loader here, which hopefully will work, for $1,000. And then I'm going to go ahead and get this pallet fork. And good news is we have a bucket, bale spikes, so we have other options we can use as well. So let's go connect those and get our bags off of the trailer. So we're unable to get this to fit. The front of the trailer is too wide, or the tractor, so this isn't going to work. Alright, so I'm going to try this quickie, but not sure if that will be any better. I'm not sure if it's going to make me get another connection point. If I'm going to have to go change my front loader connection, I'm going to try it this way, because if I can avoid spending money I don't need to spend, that would be good. Alright, so it looks like it does let me. Too many people walking around here. Not quite sure why they go right through where the equipment gets put out by the shop, but obviously they do. Alright, so we'll pull up here. Should be okay. Let's see. Alright, we can move the forks, so that's good. So at this point, I think I'm going to want them far apart. Just trying to understand the controls here. Alright, I can move the fork, but I can't. Oh, I think because I have don't have the right tool selected. Okay. Alright. Alright. See you back at the farm. So yeah, it's definitely a good thing that we're able to make a good amount of money off these trees, or this would have really stopped things pretty quickly, because suddenly having to spend $8,000 is not something I was expecting just to move some bags. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. Alright, good news is this appears to be working. So we'll be able to put our seeds down. Alright, and we'll grab the other. And then I will go ahead and I will go get a bag of fertilizer and a spreader. And that will be our next task. Whoops, not high enough. Not sure that this will work. Doesn't look like it, so before I cause myself more difficulty, I'll reposition. I think at this point I need to be down a bit. Can't quite tell. Nope, still a little further down. There we go. Good news is, at least, yeah, I was worried I didn't know if this tractor took a front loader. I thought I had been careful to find tractors that did that, because usually for survival series you're almost always having to do that at some point. So whoops, no, there we go. Alright, so then we'll go ahead, and of course we're going to have the slow, arduous journey over to the store. But yeah, we're getting to be close to noon here now. Put that trailer back up. You know what? I'm not sure that I actually need this trailer now that I think about it. So that'll help, because I can carry the bag on the pallet fork and then just tow the seeder. And I could probably even put some fertilizer in the seeder, so maybe I don't need a bag at all. So this at least is a good speed. I don't know that we're going to get all the way up to 19. Because, yeah, now this is the really steep part of the forest right now, between us and the store. So, yeah, there's field 7 out there. Whoop, I think that's a tree. Maybe that was just a branch hanging down. Even in the first-person view, it is a challenge to get around here. But a little choice. It's kind of what it takes to do things here. Alright, so we should have a road here somewhere. I think there it is, maybe? Where is it? Oh, maybe it's through the bushes here. There we go. And there's people walking again where they really shouldn't be, but in any event, let's go get some fertilizer and the spreader. Alright, so this KL3M 3500, it holds 1400 liters. I think that's pretty good. Alright, wide tires are the most inexpensive, so we'll go with that. The nice thing is it does both lime and fertilizer, but I'm not sure that we're going to have to do lime here. Yes, as always, the pallet of solid fertilizer is more than the bag, so we'll go ahead and do that. Buy that. So it's only 1,000, so we'll actually be able to connect up and just empty everything into the spreader. So this is even better than we thought. We're going to have nothing to carry back and leave laying around and dirtying up our yard. So yeah, this is a pretty good working width of the spreader. So for that price, certainly not a bad thing. Let me get back in first-person view where I might have a hope of seeing things. Again, I'm not on the right tool. I'm trying to lower the arms so that I get a clearer view. I think I want to go this way, because I think if I cross the path, I'm far, far too much to the left. Because, yep, there's our field. But yeah, at this point, it's only noon, not even, only 11 in the morning, so looks like we're going to get some rain. Alright, so we're going to turn this on. And we'll see how this works. I can't really tell anything. Is it fertilizing is the question. So before I go too far, let me do my fields. Oh, because it's got rolling. Well, it is. Okay. Alright. I just wasn't sure, because it's not really... I guess it is a little darker. I'm like, it's not... It didn't look like it was changing the field in any way. So I thought maybe I was just dumping fertilizer, but not having much happening. So this should be a little easier. I know it's a little wider than I am. So we'll go here. But this is going to be a bit tricky. Because I will tell you, that's one of the challenges with the survival is, you know, we don't really have money for GPS. And once again, this is probably not a tractor we're going to keep. So investing in GPS, even when if we could, because at one point, you know, in theory we had enough, but of course now with everything we just bought, as you can see, we're only down to 9,000 and GPS is 15. Like, we had 23, we would have been like, oh yeah, we can put GPS on here, and then we wouldn't have been able to get our front loader and any of that. Alright, so we've got the headland, although we missed a little bit. So I guess, again, I can see what I'm doing. Not sure if this 1,000 liters, and we've got a couple little squares here and there of field that didn't work. And unfortunately with fertilizer, we don't have the ability to not spread if we're overlapping, so there's always that challenge as well. So I think I'm just doing another pass. I wasn't intending to do that, but as I think about it, I think that'll make it a little easier, because then I can turn around more on the field. But yeah, with all that dust, the way the fertilizer drops out of this, that is really hard to see if we've covered things, so we're almost going to have to look at it later, unfortunately. I think at this point, then we can start a row, or maybe I just keep going around. I don't know. I don't necessarily like to do it as a spiral, but this may be the easiest way to do this field. It's not that big, and then at least I'm spreading almost constantly instead of turning around and so forth. So let me see. Eventually I think it's going to not work like that. I left a piece there, I know for sure, so this is hard. The shadows from the trees make it hard to discern the shadows from the fertilizer. It's definitely a bit of a challenge. And the good news is it's not dropping fertilizer that fast. But yeah, at this point it's, I don't know, I guess I'm okay here. It's just we're getting to some really tight corners at this point where I'm at here, and then that's going to cause us some difficulty in being able to actually do what we need. So let me see if I go this way, because I'm assuming if I just let it run, yeah, it's going to keep fertilizing, which is, so I will have to start turning it off now because I'm just wasting fertilizer. But we've got a little bit down here, I think, that I didn't get. So I think we're all set there. Turn this one around. See what I can do there. Get most of that, but it's still going to need one more pass to get the little bit that's left. But this also goes a lot faster than the plow. It's also much wider. I mean, it didn't have a working width on it. I don't think it's 6 meters. It's probably 4 or 5. It's really hard to tell. Alright, so at this point I do think I probably just need to start heading up and down. And it seems this is a little lighter. It's also, you know, just rolling over the ground instead of digging into the ground like the plow was. So I think that gives us a bit of more pulling power than we had otherwise. Though it still wasn't going super fast up the hill there. So it's not nothing, that's for sure. But yeah, this is going pretty quickly. And so the only other thing I can look at is, can I find a roller? Let me back this out. There's, again, the way this works, it's a little bit kind of pulled in there. So I wonder if I can find a cheap roller, if the store offers that. And it's possible that because, you know, we are out here in the wilderness for the most part, where we're trying to work, you know, they understand these are not farmers that are going to have, you know, tens of thousands of dollars for gigantic, oh boy, this is wasting way more than I really wanted. I turned it off somehow. Oh boy. Making a bit of a mess here. Wasting some fertilizer, but once again it looks like we're going to have more than enough. But yeah, the trees right in front of us, that was kind of my thought of the next expansion of the field, is kind of go that way a little bit, and that would give us a nice long thin field that we can get through relatively quickly. Because yeah, the real question is, what am I really going to get off this field? I'm not sure this is big enough to make it a viable solution for anything. I think this just gets us by the first year to get our equipment and get going, but I'm just worried we're going to get like 1,000 or 2,000 liters of soybeans off this field, and that's going to be it. Which, again, we do have seeds and we do have fertilizer left, but it's not even going to cover the costs we put in the total supplies. 'Cause, you know, once again, we paid $1,800 or whatever for this bag of fertilizer. Now, again, we use less than 100 liters of it, so that probably means, you know, basically $180 worth of fertilizer. So as long as I get more than that, and given that soybeans are usually $1,000 per 1,000 liters, I should be okay. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm ever going to quite figure out how things are lined up, because I'm clearly missing this. But I'm going to put this here. Whoops. I think I dropped my front loader, is what I did, because I was selecting the wrong tool. I want to put this here. So yes, I think the front loader, unless there's a reason not to carry it around, it's probably a good thing to have with me in case I need to do something. Alright, so we're definitely moving along substantially faster than I expected. I was thinking we'd be hard-pressed to finish plowing and planting this field, but clearly I've been pretty motivated to get this going. But now that we have some daylight, I want to take a look at this a little bit, because I do like, you know, I think we've got a pretty good field. I mean, it's got a little bit of an interesting shape, kind of maximize things with where the trees are. You know, we probably could straighten that out if we wanted. We'll worry about tidying all that up once we really determine how large we're going to go. I'm thinking at this point this might be enough for the episode now, because I think we've, again, gotten a lot done. And then we'll pick up next time. So I'll see you then.